everyone, welcome to Biophilia's video on microbes in human welfare part 3. So before making the concepts very clear, do like, share and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified for all upcoming videos. So did you ever wonder that how much damage some agricultural practices could make? You might remember that there was a revolution called as Green Revolution which had made a very important event in agriculture. So a green revolution में farmers were introduced with a very important fertilizers, then there were pesticides, then there were insecticides और ये सब इतना ज़्यादा यूज हो रहा था ड्यूरिंग द ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन दैट उस टाइम तक के लिए तो प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ गई बट नाउ स्टिल दे आर ट्राइंग टू यूज दोज ओल्ड मेथड्स विच आर नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प बिकॉज इट हैज़ बीन the case wherein there is loss of soil fertility. Soil fertility जो उस टाइम पे थी that was okay with the fertilizers, but इतना ज़्यादा fertilizers, pesticides and insecticides have been used that the soil fertility has reduced. And now that fertilizers is actually been getting drained into water bodies and that is going directly into water और उसकी वजह से process हो रहा है that is called as eutrophication. And because of eutrophication process, the fish or the aquatic animals are going to suffer, suffocate and they are going to finally ultimately die. And that is going to be a very important change that can happen because of some agricultural practices. तो ये सब को रोकने के लिए what people thought about was using microbes, which is going to be a sustainable step towards agriculture जिससे environment damage ना हो but still your productivity is intact with the kind help towards the nature. So let's see in how methods microbes can be used for a better agricultural practice. So a very good step towards sustainable agriculture was taken with the use of biocontrol agents. So biocontrol agents, that was a method wherein biological methods were used और ये methods की वजह से there was a help to control plant diseases and pests. So previously क्या होता था in olden days or even in some parts of India till now there is extensive use of chemicals और ये chemicals जैसे insecticides हो गए या pesticides हो गए they are not only harmful for the pests or the insects but these are also harmful for human beings and animals that come along the food chain. So ये कैसे harmful है along the way कि प्लांट में से आगे जाके फूड चेन में कोई हर्बीवोर खाएगा उसे फिर कार्निवोर खाएगा सो अल्टीमेटली all those organisms are undergoing the impact of chemicals और ये chemicals accumulate होते हैं in each stage and they are going to go under a process that is called as biomagnification. So finally in the top species there is going to be a huge accumulation of these insecticides and pesticides जिसकी वजह से they are going to be harmful for the useful also और जिन्हें किल करना था उसे तो वो किल कर ही रहा है but the unwanted animals or the organisms are also getting affected. So ये chemicals का use कम करने के लिए the use of biocontrol methods were introduced which reduced the dependence on the toxic chemicals and pesticides. तो इनका use कम करने के लिए biocontrol measures को include किया गया था in agriculture. So what are these biocontrol measures that can be used for a better agricultural practice? So first example is going to be the use or the culture of ladybird. अब ladybird जो होता है that is a very cute little bird that is having red with black spots. So this ladybird is going to keep or control the aphids. So ये जो aphids होते हैं these are the pests that are going to completely eat the leaves जिसकी वजह से जो crop production है that is going to decrease at a very large rate. तो ये एम्फिड्स को लेडी बर्ड इज गोइंग टू फीड ऑन एम्फिड्स, वो उसको खा जाएगी एंड इनडायरेक्टली इट इज गोइंग टू कंट्रोल द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ एम्फिड्स। और फाइनली व्हाट डज द फार्मर नीड कि एम्फिड्स जाके उसका क्रॉप खराब ना करें, एंड दैट इज व्हाट लेडी बर्ड इज हेल्पिंग, ईटिंग द एम्फिड्स एंड कीपिंग द क्रॉप safe. Another example can be the use of dragonflies. So dragonflies are going to feed on larvae of mosquitoes. So अगर larva of mosquito अगर खा लिया जाए, so they are not going to develop into mosquitoes, and finally there would be a lot less amount of mosquitoes present, जिसकी वजह से वापस bio control हो सकता है. So again that was a second example using some organisms that is going to help to reduce the dependence on chemicals. Now the very interesting biocontrol agent that is Bacillus thuringiensis. Bacillus thuringiensis को short में BT भी बोलते हैं. It is going to be a bacteria which is going to be used as biocontrol agent, and this microbial control agent is introduced for controlling the butterfly caterpillars. अब butterfly caterpillar से क्या प्रॉब्लम है, अगर ये caterpillars leaves के ऊपर अगर या crop के आसपास अगर नजर आते हैं तो they are going to grow onto the crop leaves, और ये leaves को उतर के पूरा खा जाते हैं, and because of that holes can be seen where they have eaten the leaves. Leaves खा जाते हैं in the plants or the crops where leaves are important. That is going to be a very big loss for the farmer. So the farmer tries to keep away these caterpillars completely away from the crop field. तो अब इसको अगर एक एक करके निकाला जाए या पेस्टिसाइड्स छिड़का जाए, that is going to be not a good option. So best option for nowadays is going to be Bacillus thuringiensis. तो genetically ये Bacillus thuringiensis बैक्टीरिया को it can be implanted into the plants. जैसे ही plant grow होगा, automatically the genes or the characteristics of Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria is going to be included into the plant, and those plants will be free from attacks of such caterpillars. And those plants who have genetically engineered characteristics of Bacillus thuringiensis, तो उनके prefix में you add BT. So if cotton is enriched with the properties of Bacillus thuringiensis, तो हम उसको बोलेंगे BT cotton. So अगर BT cotton के जो cotton जो ball होता है, if that needs to be protected from the caterpillars, then you would use the species of BT cotton. So why Bacillus thuringiensis was chosen for as a biocontrol agent? The reason was कि जो Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria है, it is going to produce a toxin. ये toxin जो होता है that is going to be in inactive state inside the Bacillus thuringiensis. So अगर inactive state में है, so it does not affect the bacteria. Bacteria कोई affect नहीं करेगा, but as soon as this bacteria's toxin goes into the caterpillar is going to suffer a lot, and because of that suffering it is going to die because of the toxin. तो क्या होगा फाइनली, जैसे ही Bacillus thuringiensis को BT crops में अगर इन्वॉल्व किया जाए तो ये जो टॉक्सिन होगा that is going to be produced by all the parts of the plant, और ये जैसे ही टॉक्सिन पूरे प्लांट में फैल जाएगा, एनी पार्ट द कैटरपिलर ट्राइज टू ईट, जैसे ही अगर ये लीफ कैटरपिलर खाने आती है, so what is going to happen, it is going to die as soon as the toxin reaches into the gut of the caterpillar. Gut of the caterpillar में जैसे ही जाएगी, it will turn into active form, and as soon as it turns into the active form, it is going to produce pores. It will drill the linings of intestine, और जैसे ही intestine के linings को वो drill करना शुरू करेगी, that because of this it is going to finally die. Correct? So finally what do we need? अगर caterpillars मर जाते हैं तो it is not going to further attack onto the leaves, and that is not going to make a big loss for the farmers. So that is a good way of preventing caterpillars from invading the crops. तो पेस्टिसाइड्स की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी, केमिकल्स की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ी, देयर वॉज नो नीड ऑफ ह्यूमन इंटरफेरेंस. जैसे ही एक बार ये बीटी क्रॉप्स अगर ग्रो कर दिए तो दोज कैटरपिलर्स आर गोइंग टू बी अवे फ्रॉम द क्रॉप. So now let's see another method in which there is going to be a biocontrol agent. So the fourth method is using trichoderma. Trichoderma एक free living fungus है and this fungus is going to be found in the root systems. So this free living fungus is used for the treatment of plant diseases. Now plant diseases को कैसे treat करने में help होती है? It's not going to be fighting with the microbes, but it is going to help in keeping away the microbes from the plant roots. So ये generally soil में मिलेगा, that would be nearby the roots. तो ये roots के nearby रहकर it is going to keep all the plant pathogens away and would be helping कि ये plant के root में से अंदर जाके they don't harm the plant. So जैसे ही Trichoderma is growing nearby the soil of the plant, all the plant pathogens are kept away. So again, without using chemicals, that can be the pathogens can be kept away from the plant. Fifth method हो सकता है using baculovirus. Now these are pathogens that are going to attack insects and other arthropods. So arthropods are generally insects, right? So this baculovirus is going to attack on the pathogens, and the major genus in baculovirus is going to be nucleopolyhedrovirus, that is NPV. This is the most commonly used genus for baculovirus. Now what is the major speciality about this biocontrol agent? And these viruses have a specific species. ये ऐसे नहीं है कि कोई भी किसी भी पैथोजन पे जाके अटैक कर दे. No, it is species specific. That makes it a narrow spectrum. That is, अगर कोई specific pathogen आता है, it is going to just kill that particular pathogen and would not harm any of the useful microbes or the insects that is growing onto the plant. And that makes it special कि वो species specific है. It is not going to have any negative impacts on the plant या mammals जो उसे खाने वाले हैं in future, or it is not even going to harm any non-target pests. So it is a very good source that can be used for keeping all the unwanted pests away from the plant. अब ये सारे जो चीज़ें आप यूज़ कर रहे हो for a better agricultural practice, that is going to be coming under integrated pest management, that is shorted as IPM. So this integrated pest management में it is a program wherein all those beneficial insects are included that are going to help for having a ecological sensitive area, उसको treat करते हैं and that would be preserved for a better use ahead. So major objective of this IPM program is going to create and maintain the situations in which the insects are going to be prevented from causing significant damage to the crops. तो पेस्टिसाइड्स इंसेक्टिसाइड्स की जगह पे अगर ये इंसेक्ट्स या इन माइक्रोब्स को यूज किया जाए, that is going to be beneficial for everyone. So that is the main objective for the IPM program. Now, as the microbes were used against the pests and the insects as in biocontrol agent, वैसे ही microbes biofertilizers के जैसे भी काम कर सकते हैं. So if you are understanding about bacteria, so one of the bacteria that is rhizobium is going to be living in symbiotic association. So ये symbiotic association जो है that is going to be between the rhizobium, that is the bacteria, and the root nodules of the leguminous plant. अब leguminous plant में आ सकते हैं your pea, that is a very common example जहाँ पे rhizobium का symbiotic association दिखता है. So what is going to be helpful with this symbiotic association? First of all, there is going to be fixation of atmospheric nitrogen. Now, as you know that plants cannot directly use the atmospheric nitrogen. They need something in organic forms that needs to be absorbed by the roots from the soil. So that organic form nitrogen is going to be made, or that is going to be fixed by the rhizobium. So you don't have to add any additional source of nitrogen. जैसे nitrogen का fertilizer नहीं डालना पड़ेगा. As soon as the rhizobium start making root nodules into the leguminous plants, it can be used as nitrogen source. So जैसे ही नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन हो जाएगा, organic form nitrogen is present into the soil, then that nutrients can be absorbed by the plant roots and that is going to help the plants. If जैसे rhizobium symbiotic association में था, there are two more bacteria, that is Azospirillum and Azotobacter. Now these two bacteria are free living in soil. They do not form any symbiotic association. They are naturally present in free living as in soil. Again same function है, they are going to fix the atmospheric nitrogen और उससे नाइट्रोजन लेवल इन द सॉइल इज गोइंग टू कंपैरेटिवली इंक्रीज. अब क्या होता है, अगर लो नाइट्रोजन होगा सो द प्लांट ग्रोथ इज गोइंग टू डिक्रीज. अगर हाई नाइट्रोजन कंटेंट होगा इन द सॉइल, द प्लांट इज गोइंग टू फ्लरिश ग्रीन वेरी वेल. So farmers again need कि उनके soil में there is high content of nitrogen, so the fertility of the soil is maintained without the use of fertilizers. तो वहाँ पे the bacteria can be used for increasing the nitrogen levels without the use of fertilizers. Now you can even use cyanobacteria. So cyanobacteria जो होते हैं, they are going to be autotrophic microbes and these are generally in aquatic or even in terrestrial regions. इनका भी same काम है, that is to fix atmospheric nitrogen. So in examples for cyanobacteria you can have Anabina. So this cyanobacteria is again going to be in symbiosis with Azolla. अब अनाबिना और अजोला का एक पेयर याद रखना है. सो अजोला इज गोइंग टू बी अ एक्वेटिक फॉर्म. अब सिम्बायोसिस रिलेशनशिप है, दैट इज देयर इज गोइंग टू बी गिव एंड टेक अवे रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द टू ऑर्गेनिजम्स. सो अनाबिना जो होता है, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी हैविंग the work for fixing nitrogen for the azolla, that is an aquatic fern. और अजोला जो है, that is going to provide a habitat for this cyanobacteria. So again there is a give and take away relationship because of which they can happily live along with together. अब एनाबिना और अजोला जो है, they can be grown along with the paddy production. So paddy production, that is rice जहाँ पे grow होगा, this anabina and azola can be even grown together along with the rice to increase the production of rice. अब जैसे ही ये एनाबिना और अजोला साथ में रहेंगे, there is going to be increase in nitrogen levels of the soil. Nitrogen levels अगर ज़्यादा होंगे in the soil, that is going to help the rice to grow very well in that soil. So that is going to help in increase of paddy production. Second example हो सकता है of nostoc. Now there are many species of nostoc. They are going to be found again in symbiosis with the choroid roots of Cycas. Cycas एक gymnosperm है, as you must remember. This gymnosperm is going to have a symbiosis or symbiotic relationship with nostoc, and this nostoc is a cyanobacteria that is going to be again providing nitrogen source in the soil. Second, that is a third example होगा of Alushira, that is going to be again a cyanobacteria which is active non-symbiotic. यहाँ पे याद क्या रखना है, it is non-symbiotic, वो किसी के साथ paired up नहीं होगा. It is non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation cyanobacteria for the rice field. So rice field के related two cyanobacteria है. First is going to be Anabina and second is Alushira. Now the last thing about this cyanobacteria, that is the blue-green algae, this all are going to add organic matter और ऑर्गेनिक मैटर इन द फॉर्म ऑफ नाइट्रोजन कंपाउंड्स जैसे ही बढ़ेंगे इन द सॉइल दैट इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज द फर्टिलिटी, और जैसे ही फर्टिलिटी बढ़ती है अल्केनैलिटी कम होती है, एंड दैट इज द condition wherein the plant is going to have a perfect growth environment जहाँ पे the plant can flourish and give good production. So again, without the use of any harsh products for the environment, the production can be increased with simple steps using microbes. Now, next topic of biofertilizers is using fungi. Fungi can also form symbiotic relationship with the roots of higher plants, और जैसे ही symbiotic relationship with higher plants with the roots होता है, that is going to be called as mycorrhiza. A mycorrhiza is a symbiotic relationship, again that is a give and take relationship. So the fungal symbiote, that is the fungal part of the symbiosis, that is going to help in absorption of phosphorus from the soil, and the plant is going to provide a better habitat for this fungus, और जो भी खाना required है, all the nutrients that are required or the water content that is required, that is going to be provided by the plant to the fungus. अब जो प्लांट्स के पास symbiotic relationship है, that is those plants who have mycorrhiza, they are going to show resistance to root-borne pathogens. Root-borne pathogen, that is the pathogen that are going to attack the roots, that are going to be highly reduced. The plants can also show tolerance to salinity and drought conditions. और finally अगर ये सब control में है, so there is going to be increase in the plant growth and development. So that is what we need, that the plant should grow properly and the development should be the best. So अब mycorrhiza की बात है, so there are two types of mycorrhiza, that is one the ectomycorrhiza and second that is endomycorrhiza. So you can see how the differences can be seen inside the plants who have those who do not have mycorrhiza and one those who have mycorrhiza. तो उनके roots ज़्यादा अच्छे से develop होते हैं, and once the root get developed properly, the nutrients can be absorbed properly and the plant can have a better growth and development. So again you can see in this photo without mycorrhiza and the with mycorrhiza condition. So in a way there is going to be a lot more benefits of having mycorrhiza in some plants. So let's discuss more about ectomycorrhiza in the next slide. अब ectomycorrhiza जो होता है, that is also called as ectotrophic or ectophytic. So phytic word is generally related to fungus. So अगर fungus is going to be outside the roots of the plant, that is ecto means outside. So fungus that is going to be found only on the outer surface of the root forming a mantle, then that is going to be a case of ectomycorrhiza. अब ectomycorrhiza का major काम है to absorb water and minerals, and these are generally found in plants or trees, generally woody trees, जहाँ पे जिनके roots जो होते हैं they cannot reach into small pores of the soil. तो जहाँ पे ये रूट्स नहीं पहुँच पाते हैं, then the hyphae of the fungus is going to reach and absorb water and minerals from that particular area. क्योंकि अगर रूट्स हर जगह पे नहीं जा पाएंगे, so it becomes very difficult for the absorption part, and that where the ectomycorrhiza comes into help for absorbing and even storing nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and calcium. So all these good elements are going to be absorbed and stored for the betterment of the plant. Finally, अगर फंगस की बात हो रही है, so ectomycorrhiza में जो फंगस होती है, that is going to be from the Basidiomycetes, that is a part from the fungus. So type of fungus में Basidiomycetes is generally been seen or observed for ectomycorrhiza formation. और ऐसे ट्रीज जहाँ पे ectomycorrhiza दिखते हैं, they can be oak and pinus trees. Now let's see about endomycorrhiza, that is endophytic. So again अगर words को break किया जाए, so phytic is related to fungus and endo is going to be inside. So whenever the fungal hyphae is going to penetrate into the cortex cells of the root, then that condition would be called as vesicular or vascular mycorrhiza, in short called as VAM. So you can see in the adjacent diagram over here, wherein the hyphae of the fungus is going to actually penetrate into the cortex cells, जबकि जो endomycorrhiza था, it is not going to penetrate into the cortex cells, but यहाँ पे penetration नजर आएगा, and because of this penetration, the cells of the cortex is going to swell up and form vesicles, और ये vesicles को vasculars बोलते हैं. So the name for the mycorrhiza is VAM. So the major significant role for this VAM is going to be in phosphorus nutrition for the plant. अब जहाँ पे भी phosphorus की need आएगी for the plant, that is going to be provided with this endomycorrhiza. अब endomycorrhiza में जो fungus होगी, that is generally belonging to the group of zygomycetes, and the plants that are going to show the occurrence of endomycorrhiza is going to be orchids, coffee, and some woody plants. In these you can find the presence of endomycorrhiza. That comes to an end wherein we have seen many benefits in different parts of this video, of this chapter, wherein we have seen the various benefits of microbes in human welfare. जहाँ पे we saw about different foodstuffs in food industry, we saw in the industrial products, फिर हमने देखा in this agricultural processes, in the sewage treatment plant, in the biogas, everywhere microbes were the important criteria that were beneficial for the human beings. So not always microbes are a harmful characteristic, but also some microbes have some benefits that can be used for our betterment. So I hope this chapter was a good explanation wherein जो माइक्रोब्स का एक बेनिफिशियल साइड है was very more attention paying part, and I hope you understood all those examples in this chapter very well, along with the good pictures that could help you to understand the concepts more clearer. So for more such amazing content for all chapters, do like, share and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified for upcoming videos. Stay connected with Biophilia, that would never disappoint you. Till then, keep studying, keep smiling. Thank you.